morning. What is going on? We had a fun little night last night with Courtney, getting after all those chameleons. Made a pretty early start. You can see we're in some different habitat. It's actually a habitat called renosterveld, which is quite a small endangered vegetation type out here in Cape Town. And yeah, we're gonna get after it today. I'm in an area where we get a couple of different species that we don't usually get in some of the other areas that I herp around in Cape Town. So yeah, we're gonna see if we're gonna connect with much. Hopefully see some chameleons, and a couple of snakes would be great. And there's a couple of lizards here that I'm also quite keen to see if we can't connect with. So as soon as we find something cool, I will catch up with you guys. We're just stopping, flipping a few pieces of logs here on the side of the trail, but not much to speak of actually. Oh, there you go, there's a little clicking stream frog, Strongylopus grey eye. These are the super common. Just gonna grab a quick voucher and we're gonna get on our way. So I just worked through this little concrete pile, turned up this chunky looking Cape skink, a really dark specimen. I've actually not seen them before with these really light eye sockets before. It's quite strange. But yeah, it's a fairly large one. They get a little bit bigger than this, but of course these guys are common. We see them a lot. So I'm just gonna grab some quick photographs and we're gonna keep on going. We've pretty much only done about a fifth of the reserve so far, so we have a lot more habitat to check through. There we go, just turned up another Cape skink. You can see this one's quite a lot lighter. It's got much nicer markings than that darker one we saw a couple flips ago. But yeah, he was just under this big old tree stump. Again, yeah, these skinks are really common in these sort of semi-disturbed habitats, and even within the natural habitats, they're really common. But yeah, Cape skink, let's go. Just look at this Cape skink. I've just shot a couple of photos of it. It'll probably dash away in a couple seconds, but yeah, nice big lizards. As you can see, the size of my hands, gorgeous dorsal markings. And yeah, we're pretty much done with this little brother, so you can get out of here. See you later, brother. And there he goes. You can see they super serpentine when they stand in a straight line, and off he goes. So here's our second amphibian for the day, or second species should I say. This is a common river frog. It was a common river frog. He just had a bit of his tail left, but I'll try to see if I can find him again. So I just came over to this old fallen down tree. We were peeking under some bark and we got a snake out of the deal. I just pulled back this little piece of bark. We got a little Karoo sand snake. Samorphus notostinctus. You can see they're really nice and yellow underneath. They got that typical sand snake or whip snake head, and these guys are usually fast as anything. It's just the fact that it's a little bit cool today, so we're on the lucky side. But yeah, he was just under this big flake of tree bark, and yeah, I've found them quite often under these barks. These are actually old pine trees that the reserve has felled, so indigenous species making use of invasive species to hide out, especially under the cooler weather. But yeah, I'm gonna just grab a couple of photos of this guy real quick while he's still nice and cold, and then we're gonna carry on and hopefully see if we can't turn up any other snakes. Nice. Look at the gorgeous yellow belly. So we're just releasing this Karoo sand snake back under his log pile, or in his log pile, back into the bark. We obviously don't want him to be out and about during the day because someone will probably eat him, but we want him to just go back into his log and he'll come out when he wants to. Later, brother. Of course, we just stopped for a little interlude, a little lunch break, and you can see it's pretty overcast. It's actually quite nice herping conditions. Nothing expecting to find on the move, maybe basking around their refuge or so. But yeah, just a couple of skinks, the clicking stream frogs, kebra frogs, and the Karoo sand snake to speak of. But yeah, we're gonna carry on now. Blue skies are breaking just a little bit between the clouds. We're gonna see what we're gonna get after. So I just stopped to photograph that little Karoo sand snake, and I just was grabbing a piece of bark to photograph it on, and I got this little marbled leaf-toed gecko just peeking under this little piece of bark. These guys are insane. I mean, you get them in houses, you get them in disrupted sort of habitats, and of course, whoops, you also obviously get them in natural habitats. They're actually at night, they're known to lick sort of nectar and pollen or flowers. Really interesting little geckos, and of course here it's on an old and invasive pine tree. So the pines certainly do produce habitat and somewhere for our indigenous reptiles to hide in. So this is the kind of habitat we're sort of cruising around. We are just trying to flip rocks, do a couple logs, a very embedded full of ants. Put that guy back. Yeah, you can see it is really dry, especially at this time of the year. But you can see there's loads of rodent burrows, rodent holes. I've been seeing a couple of scorpions. For those who always ask about scorpions, I've seen a couple. But yeah, I'm just gonna carry on. Especially these old pine logs are quite good. There's not too much other cover around. So these old pine logs are really, really good. So we're gonna get to them, and if I see anything, I'll let you guys know. So just flipped over this log and we got a little double flip. We got another tiny Karoo sand snake. Let's have a look at him. He's just really small. They're really pretty snakes. Obviously the same species as the much larger one we saw a little bit earlier. But together with him, I don't know how he hasn't eaten this guy already, but this is a ocellated gecko. Ow, getting nibbled there. Why, brother? It's so unnecessary. So I'm gonna finish filming and I'll get sorted that guy out. But this is just a little ocellated gecko, Pachydaculus geiki. These guys are really common. He's really small. Don't run next to his face. But yeah, I'm gonna get this sand snake off my finger before he does a bit of damage, and we're gonna grab some pictures and I'll give you a better look at him. So here's just a better look at that tiny Karoo sand snake that we picked up together with that little ocellated gecko. You can see this guy's really tiny. He is sitting really nicely for photos actually, which is surprising. But yeah, I'm just about done with him. Grabbed a couple of camera pics, and yeah, he can pretty much go back on his way. This is the Karoo sand snake. Just finished up photographing this little Karoo sand snake. Gave me a little nip as I picked it out. But yeah, we're just gonna let it go and then we're gonna get on out of here. So we're in some renosterveld habitat looking for the critically endangered geometric tortoise. And after finding a dead one, we just got our first live geometric tortoise of the day. Have a look at this thing, they're absolutely incredible. It's a relatively small one, probably a male. But we'll have a closer look at him in a second. So, anyone will tell you who's ever photographed tortoises or found tortoises out in the wild, there are generally only two types of tortoises that you find. The ones that just want to run and never sit still for photographs or video. And then you get this type, which I'm not too sure if they're better or worse than the former, but these guys just will not come out the shell. I've been sitting here probably for at least a minute or two, just filming, waiting for this guy to come out. He pops his head out every once in a while, but then slowly goes back in, and he's just not giving me much. Right, here he comes. As you can see, he's very, he goes in and out. He's very sort of tentative to come out. But yeah, I just was trying to shoot some photographs of him, but he just really was not cooperating. So whack the camera here on the tripod and we're just trying to do this. So I'll hopefully try to get a few pictures as he's about to run through. Oh, he's straight into the bushes. But yeah, I'm sure I've got enough shots. So I'm just going to let him go boulders his way. And we're going to carry on and let's see if we can't find any more, or maybe even turn up a couple more of the pipeloopers. So we're just still out here and I just spotted this little parrotbeak pipeloper just at the base of this bush here. I don't know, will you guys be able to see it? Just hanging out. It's quite overcast now, so he should be out and about. I don't quite know why. This little brother in is just chilling. But yeah, nice to see. Always love to see the pipeloopers. Cool, that's pretty much going to be it for this spot. Just a couple of tortoises, didn't film much. Most of them were just sort of in situ. But yeah, I'm going to head off to another little spot, and that's going to be more sort of snake orientated. But I'll check in when I get there. So we're going to flip a couple of rocks and see if we can get any sort of flip clips. But we know how this goes. My luck and flip clips really don't exist. I always just land up seeing nothing, or the animals just escape. But yeah, we got quite a lot of cover to work through, so we're gonna give it a go. We just got our first frog of the day. It's a little clicking stream frog, Strongylopus greya. We see a ton of these guys all over the show. And with the winter rains approaching, it's about their time to be hopping around soon. So these guys will be a heck of a lot more active, and we should start seeing a whole bunch more of them. But yeah, Strongylopus greya, the clicking stream frog. I'm not going to mess with them, I'm just going to leave them there. So have a go. We just flipped an Aurora house snake. He's just disappearing there, but we're going to grab him quick. Have a look at this. These things are absolutely gorgeous. This was my target species for the spot, and there you go, it produced. Can't go wrong with these guys. We've seen them in a couple of videos previously, so they're nothing too uncommon, but sorry man, the shade is a lot better for the video. It's quite a chunky little one, still a really young snake, but can't go wrong with seeing these guys. Have a look at that yellow stripe that runs all the way down the body. So as it would happen, as I stop filming, we get something. Got this Acontius meleagris, Cape legless skink. Saw quite a few of these in the last video last week. But yeah, these are pretty much being found right alongside those Aurora house snakes. You can see the end of the tail there. It's flat and blunt. It looks just like the head. This is just a small one. These guys get to about 35 centimeters. Really cool lizards, just really common, so we don't pay much attention to them in the general herpetological community, which is pretty sad because I think they're pretty cool. Acontius meleagris, the Cape legless skink. See you later, brother. So here's a good look at this Aurora house snake. They're absolutely gorgeous. You can see that yellow stripe, like I was saying earlier, down the spine. And this guy is not wanting to sit still for anything, so I'm going to battle it out to try get a couple more still photographs, and then we're just going to have to let him go on his way. I think he's actually eaten something, so best we not disturb him too much. So I'm right on the rock next to where that Aurora house snake was. Have a look at this. There's literally just a snake shed just coming out of the earth. Let's try to see if I can get a good look at it. It's pretty beaten. You can see it's literally just coming straight out of this ground here. Let's have a squiz what it could be. Actually looks like this is the shed from an olive snake, which is another really beautiful snake that are quite common along here, but we're obviously in a good spot, so we're going to carry on. Just flipped a tiny little Acontius meleagris, Cape legless skink. You can see they sort of make these burrows from under the rocks and stuff like that, where they cruise around. This is an exceptionally small one. This one wouldn't be older than a couple of weeks at most. Let me give you guys a little look at this thing. It's absolutely tiny. As they age, they sort of become quite yellow. But you can see this guy is absolutely tiny. Just gonna let him go back under his rock. Or he'll shuffle down into the soil. So we got another really attractive looking clicking stream frog compared to that other one. Of course you can see laying in these little burrows, just waiting for these winter rains to come through. Pretty frogs, but common all the same. Here's just a look at a really big clicking stream frog that I just flipped under a little rock right where we got the Aurora house snake. Pretty looking frog. These guys are really common, so they're often just overlooked as sort of a trash species, but again I think they're pretty cool. You can see it's got that little vague dorsal stripe going down the back. Yeah, snapped a couple of photographs of this big female, and then she can just go back under her rock and wait for the rains. So I just got this common dwarf gecko, Ligodactylus capensis. These guys are actually not native to the Western Cape. They're actually from the eastern parts of the country, and just over the years they've sort of made their way down into the Western Cape. I mean, they're totally harmless. They just sort of hang out during the day on these trees and bushes, usually around homes. This is just in a little urban park, so completely well adapted for these environments. But unfortunately, they're just not supposed to be here. I'm gonna grab a couple of photographs. We're just gonna let them go. Well, that is pretty much it for today. The sun has gone into its yellow golden hour state, so that means photography is over. But yeah, pretty successful day. Got the little geometric tortoises, a couple of the putlopers, now just the Aurora house snake, the Acontius, the giant legless skinks, and a couple of clicking stream frogs. So I'm heading out tomorrow with the one and only Oliver. We're gonna go climb some mountains, look for some moss frogs. So we will catch you then. Good morning, it's now the next day. I'm here with Oliver and we are busy hiking up these mountains. Gonna go after some frogs, breviceps, moss frogs, maybe turn a couple of lizards. But before we head up, we're just scouting this little open area. Let's see if we can flip some rocks and hopefully turn up some creatures. So have a go at this. I just flipped this minuscule mountain rain frog, breviceps montanus. Oh, look at this little dude, he's absolutely tiny. Give you a better look at him just cruising around. Absolutely ridiculous. I just happened to walk on a rock and I decided, let me flip the rock, and this little dude is just chilling. See next to my finger, he is ridiculously small. I'll shoot some stills so at least we can get a better look of what he actually looks like. So the hipping's been pretty slow today. We got a couple of the mountain rain frogs, breviceps montanus. Oliver turned up that nice little, well, quite large short-legged ceps out in the mountains. As you saw, we had no luck with the moss frogs. I mean, we heard them calling. We tried to find them in that long grass, but it's just too dense, thick and matted, so we kind of had to call it. But yeah, we're heading back down the mountain and hopefully bump into something on the way. So Oliver just got hold of this little, well, not a little, pretty large short-legged ceps. He's just chilling inside a dead rest here. You can see he's got that long tail, tiny little legs, hence the name short-legged ceps. He got obviously 4 legs, whereas a lot of these ceps have either 2 or almost no limbs at all. These guys are pretty cool. You'll see one sweet. Put him on the rocks here. How he moves. They move in a very serpentine manner. We'll see. Off he goes. Well, Oliver just flipped this big mountain rain frog. He's looking extra grumpy. Look at his dirty little face. I think it's pretty big compared to that little fingernail size one we got just now. Quite nice markings on the top. Dude, he's just gonna make a little house in your hand.
So I thought I'd give you just a closer look at this mountain rain frog. You can see now from this picture I'm going to insert what it actually typically looks like, and you can see this one is really pale, likes the orange cheeks. Super nice to run to the chunky boys as always.
So here's just a ridiculously close look at this mountain rain frog. Breviceps montanus. They are just ridiculous little things. This is a pretty good size adult, and they live up here in these high altitude mountains. Well, that's pretty much the end of the video. A couple rain frogs, steps at this spot, and obviously yesterday's one with the geometric tortoises and the Hemopus, and just another little bit of herping where we got all those sandstink. But I will catch you the next time I go out. But for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.